Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be, this is essentially a part 2 to our, Five Nights at Freddy's X DBD stuff going on. Today I really just want to focus on Springtrap, at least the initial reveal of the chapter. They were unable to really show off the full thing because they were at PAX and there's only so much time that they're given. So, and they also had like a lot of other stuff that they needed to talk about. So, they weren't fully able to reveal the chapter, which is understandable. I 100% understand. But they will be revealing more of it later on. Most likely it'd be early June. From what I think a lot of things are saying, it's going to be very early June. And it might look like it'll be, obviously, whatever the PTB comes out for the killer. But it might only be like a couple weeks, if even that, before the chapter fully drops, because they obviously try to get this stuff out on the anniversary of the game. So obviously whenever they do the full reveal for Springtrap, revealing his power, revealing his perks and stuff like that, obviously I'll be doing another video based on that. But today I really just kind of want to talk about like what we saw, at least again purely for Five Nights at Freddy's. I know they revealed a whole lot more. In particular, I know a certain set of cosmetics are coming for Pyramid Head, and I'm excited because I am still a Pyramid Head main. Although I wish that they would just revamp his add-ons. That's one thing I hope that Springtraps aren't. I hope they are not as dog shit as Pyramid Heads. God, I really hope that one day they'll just be like, hey, we're reworking his add-ons. His perks get updated all the time. I just wish that they would just do it for his fucking add-ons. Yeah, so we're gonna there's gonna also be some speculation today, purely on what I think his power might be, because we did get some of the details for that. So let's just talk about Springtrap, right? The reveal itself. Obviously, we were speculating for months it was gonna be Springtrap. Springtrap really was just the most obvious pick, but the water kind of got a little bit muddied when the FNaF movie came out and we got the Yellow Rabbit, played by Matthew Lillard, which we'll get to that soon. So then it became, is it going to be Springtrap or is it going to be the Yellow Rabbit? Well, we're getting both. Springtrap is the main killer. And the Yellow Rabbit with Matthew Lillard. I am going to be honest. I do hope that there is a mask on feature. You will be able to have the helmet on, but I wouldn't be too mad if you can't, because you get to see Matthew Lillard's face. Which Matthew Lillard actually voiced, that version. So there's going to be exclusive voice lines for that, legendary skin. And I know PJ Haywood, I think that's how you say his name, is going to be voicing Springtrap. I think he's still currently the original voice actor. I think he still does stuff for William Afton. I don't know. I don't know how much William Afton's appeared in the newer stuff, but he is going to be voicing Springtrap, which is really cool. Which means Springtrap is going to have some voice lines, so it's just going to be really, really cool. So that's going to be really, really cool. I know there's obviously going to be a lot more cosmetics for the chapter, obviously stuff from maybe some original killers, some original survivors, but I do hope Springtrap kind of gets some more cosmetics. I don't know if they'll do like a traditional Spring Bonnie outfit based on the game. I feel like that, like I said, I feel like they would just do the Yellow Rabbit, and then again, like I said, maybe have the helmet on, because I know some people are really wanting that. But I'm very, very interested to see how that goes. As for the map, I really want to talk about this because I think it's really fucking cool. It's purely based on FNaF 1, the game. Although I will say there are definitely some elements from the movie in there. Obviously, like the big sign. That's why I think a lot of people got kind of tripped up when, looking at the images. People think, oh, it's from the movie. No, it is mostly based on the game. I do really like the designs for the animatronics. I kind of feel like Scott definitely had a hand in helping design them. Which is going to be a really cool thing to see. The map is really, really cool. I cannot wait, and they've confirmed that it's going to have its own exclusive queue. So if you want to play on the new map, you're guaranteed to play on the new map, which again is super cool. And I like that they referenced that, like, hey, you don't have to just go into custom games to play the new map. You'll be able to go right into Publix. Of course, the PTB is only available on Steam, on PC. So if you don't have that, and I don't think it works for Epic Games either. You have to have it on Steam. So I think only Steam really allows that option. But, I mean, Epic Games might introduce that at some point, at least a launcher. But it's going to be really, really, really cool. So let's kind of move into, let's talk about more about Springtrap, right? His power, maybe his perks. I don't know if I really want to take a shot in the dark about his perks, but let's really talk about his power, because there's some really interesting things that the devs have hinted at, and it's definitely sparked a lot of speculation. So they've obviously were like, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of jump scares, at least especially on the FNaF map, which obviously it's staying true to Five Nights at Freddy's. It is a jump scare game. There's gonna be a lot of Easter eggs, which of course, you know, especially with a lot of these big licensed chapters, they're gonna put Easter eggs in it. I know Silent Hill, that chapter had a lot of really cool Easter eggs on Midwich. I think Resident Evil had a lot of really cool Easter eggs too on the RPD map. And I expect just as much for this one. So they also were kind of hinting at the idea that Springtrap's power might have something to do with jump scares. Or at least maybe he might be a stealth killer, which would be very, very interesting, but I also think it really fits that, right? He could, in a way, stalk the survivors, and maybe his power builds, and then maybe he gets, like, I hope it's not, like, similar to, like, not Tombstone, Michael Myers, where once you reach a certain stage of, like, invoking fear, like, you get an insta-down, right? Or, in a way, I think that's just kind of like how, the stealth killers work, right? They obviously have a gimmick that obviously you have to build up to something, and then you can get the one shot. Now, I don't know if Springtrap will have that, but that'd be really cool. Maybe you would inflict a certain amount of, like, paranoia or dread or fear upon a survivor, but once the whole thing is full, then you could go for the pounds. Somewhat similar to, like, Ghostface. But I hope it's still very unique. They did mention that Springtrap is going to be a very unique killer. It's going to be very, very unique. Oh, there's also the pig, too. Forgot about her. He's fucking nerfed so many times, and then I forget about her. They were like, Springtrap is going to be a very, very, very unique killer to go up against. And he didn't mention the pig, and that's why I remember, the pig existing as a stealth killer. Similar to how, like, her traps are, where it's a very unique interaction. So I'm very excited. I also want to talk about kind of the design here. I think they did a really good job. I know some people were like, oh, the waistband part of the animatronic, or people call it like the pants or whatever, is gone. And honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I still think he looks amazing. I cannot wait to see the full in-game model. We've only got to see him from the back as he stalks the survivor. But I'm very, very excited. Again, the art that they revealed for it looks really cool. So that's why, like, when it was initially revealed, a lot of people were like, oh, we're going to be in the Mega Pizzaplex. Because you had, like, the neon lights and stuff, obviously reminiscent of, like, a birthday party or whatever. But then they revealed the map. Yeah, so I really do like Springtrap's design. They really kept that, just this beautiful, horrific blend of animatronic and human. And it is so fucking cool. Matthew Cote, when he was asked about, in interviews, like, oh, did you have any other picks? And he's like, yeah, obviously he had a lot of other picks, but at the end of the day, he's like, there was nothing second to none to Springtrap. Like, Springtrap was going to be obviously the pick because Springtrap is the main villain of the franchise. And Springtrap's design, at least of FNaF 3, which I should mention, it is going to be the FNaF 3 design. Thank God. So it is so cool to see that. Even they were like, yeah, no, like, Springtrap's going to be the most obvious pick. Some other killers I think probably could have been picked. I want to say maybe Vanny, maybe Nightmarion, maybe Nightmare Fredbear. I think any of the Nightmares really, honestly, could have been a good pick for it, because I'm gonna be real. A lot of the other designs just probably wouldn't hit that. I mean, like, maybe Withered Bonnie or maybe Foxy or something like that, but yeah, no, like, primarily it's going to be between Springtrap, Vanny, and the Nightmares. The Nightmares design really do fit in with that horror aspect. I'm going to sit here and glaze the fuck out of FNaF 4. It's my favorite game of the franchise. So it is really, really cool. Maybe we'll get some cool other, like, versions of Springtrap when the chapter drops for cosmetics, like I mentioned before. Obviously, we're getting the Yellow Rabbit, so that one's, already set in stone. Maybe we'll get Afton from FNaF 6, Peanut. Maybe we'll get Burn Trap. That'd be another really, really cool one. Maybe we'll get a full Spring Bonnie. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know some people were mentioning the idea of Blighted Springtrap, which that would actually be kind of cool. And then also, like I said, you also have, in the previous video, you have the entirety of the FNaF AR shit you could absolutely pull from, if you wanted more cosmetics. And there's probably something for Springtrap within those. There's so much, like, FNaF AR skins, holy shit, I wouldn't even be able to go into all of them. So, there's a lot there. So, as for any other things that I really want to speculate about, right? If Springtrap isn't a stealth killer, then what other power could he be? I know in the last video I mentioned the idea that maybe he could have something similar to like the Knight or Nemesis with the zombies, and then with the Knight it's his, his guards. You could have that with the animatronics, maybe the Phantom animatronics, because that kind of makes the most sense to me. And I know some people were speculating the idea that, oh, maybe the animatronics in the FNaF map get off stage and they hunt down survivors. No, they've already confirmed, I'm pretty sure confirmed that it's just a Showtime thing. Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica will just kind of be performing up on stage. I imagine Foxy's in there too in Pirate Cove, which would be really, really cool. Yeah, I'd say probably more so the Phantoms. They can, like, they each have, like, a specific ability like they do in FNaF 3. Like, Freddy kind of, like, stalks, a survivor. Maybe it could be tied into Springtrap's power if he is a stalking killer. Maybe you get different, like, based on different tiers. Maybe tier 1, you get, Phantom Freddy, who kind of, like, stalks near you. It could give, like, a heartbeat like Springtrap, which would kind of throw you off. And then maybe tier 2, you can have, like, Withered Chica. Maybe if you, maybe in the corner of your vision, you might see maybe Chica's face, and if you look at it long enough, then Chica will, like, jump scare you and maybe help tear you up, power up Springtrap, or maybe, like, any of the Phantoms really could, make you more so, continue to build that meter. And then when you get, like, tier 3, maybe then you get, like, Phantom Foxy, and of course you have the other Phantoms too, like Phantom Mangle, Phantom BB, Phantom Puppet, right? You have these other Phantoms too that you could use as well. And I think once Springtrap is fully powered, once you reach a certain tier, maybe then he'll be able to, like, more you via jump scare or something like that. That would be really, really cool. There's a lot of really cool potential. Also, I need to mention it here. Axe Trap is gone. He is not wielding the axe. He's wielding a knife, which makes a lot more sense. Let's be realistic. That's probably what William Afton used to murder the kids, alright? I don't think William Afton's using a fucking axe, alright? I know a lot of people were, like, upset about it. It's like, be realistic here. I don't think he's going to be using an axe. I don't know why people got this idea in their heads that he would. But there's, like, a lot of really, really cool things. Like, if you've never seen the Dead by Daylight Spotlight fan-made thing for Five Nights at Freddy's, I'll link it in the description below, but it really goes super in-depth on, a lot of the mechanics. I think maybe that's where people got the idea for Springtrap having an axe from. I'm not 100% sure, but it is really cool. As for perks, I would say probably more so benefiting stealthy gameplay. I don't see like them really boosting the Phantom's power, because I don't think they would do that specifically for him. So it'd be really weird to have that specific power for a specific perk for that specific power and having no synergy with any other killer. So I think it'll probably be more so tied to stealth killers. Maybe, you'd Evoke Fear or something like that. The exposed perk, maybe a hex perk, something like that. So that'd be really, really cool. For his add-ons, I'd probably there's obviously going to be one that boosts the amount of, the speed at which, survivors tear up from your power. How often maybe a Phantom animatronic would attack a survivor. obviously you're gonna have the eerie add-ons, not head-ons, eerie add-ons, which might in themselves have, you know, various special abilities. Maybe getting jump scared by a phantom might automatically put you in the exposed state, and then you can get down from that. That'd actually be a really powerful fucking perk or add-on, which it would make you be a lot more hesitant, you know, especially with other things. There's a lot of really cool potential there. But all in all, really cool shit. I know we're still doing a lot of speculating, but again, they weren't really able to fully reveal a lot of stuff. We're probably going to be getting a Five Nights at Freddy's collection for cosmetics, and you know my ass is going to be right there buying them, right? So, yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. Not as long as the last video, because there's not as much left to really speculate on. But nonetheless, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a random part 2. We could only really talk about so much without talking about what they've already revealed. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Of course, I'll be doing a part 3 whenever Springtrap is fully revealed. Probably, if not even that, we'll probably be in-game looking at Springtrap, and then playing as him, which will be really, really cool. That'll probably be the 3rd video, whatever happens first, depending on when the, usually when they do a reveal for a chapter like that, anniversary, usually drops, the PTB drops, like, soon after that, like, the same day, like, an hour or two later. Yeah, very, very excited, for Five Nights at Freddy's. Also, I just want to mention, how the fuck are we getting Assassin's Creed Shadows before FNaF? That's kind of crazy, but like I said, that's going to be it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in part 3. Have yourselves a fantastic day. Peace out.